run. That's how they train. Do this, do that, boom, and
Alrighty.
Sorry.
Too much of one thing.
Those things are expensive.
Where have they gone? I must
Ask
find
the
them,
mayor to
for I
quiet
am their
down.
leader.
Mr. Mayor, please be quiet, we started.
I got you, lady.
All right. Call to order. Pledge of allegiance. You know what? Our new mayor.
Yes, there we go.
I knew this was going to.
No pressure.
Okay, hand over heart, ready, begin. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Roll call. And I think we're going to meet a new member here also, so.
Committee Member Anderson,
Present.
Committee Member Hazelton,
Here.
Committee Member Royer, Committee Member Stone,
Here.
Committee Member Walsh,
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Salas,
Here,
Chair Greenwald.
Here. All right. Special presentation.
Maybe we should do an
Michael,
introduction.
Hi, everybody. I'm surprised I'm here, but I'm here. The story is I came to see the city clerk about an issue, and she found out my background and immediately started to sell me on applying for a committee position when it came open. And one came open, and she sent me an email. And
Tell us about your
so
background.
here I am. Well, I moved to San Clemente in 1978.
Oh, newbie.
Came out of Madison, Wisconsin. I jumped on a motorcycle when I was 18 years old, and I came out here to see the beach, and I never went home. So I've been here for 47 years, I guess.
Okay.
Been married for 44, have 2 grown kids. And I did work for the city back in the late 70s. I was a police officer here from 78 to 82. And then, fortunately, I didn't get enough action, so I lateraled up to Newport Beach and worked there from 82 to 94.
Good,
I did
yeah.
about 15 years of law enforcement. Then I got the computer bug in the 80s, and I'm currently one step from retirement, and my expertise is in cybersecurity investigations and incident response. So I'm one of those
Great.
guys that they call me up in the middle of the night, and I get on an airplane and I fly to wherever the big incidents are. I've handled some of the largest, computer hacks in the world, all over. I mean, I've been all over the place.
Great.
perfect.
So that's.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you.
I'm really humbled to be here and honored that I was chosen by the city council. It's great. So
Great deal.
show me where to grab the rope and I'll start pulling.
Oh, we'll show you. Put on your gloves.
Mr. Chairman, Jim Royer is running late. He said he'll be here in about 20 minutes.
Great deal. Great deal. All righty. My special presentations, is somebody from the sheriff's?
They must have
Gotcha.
something going on.
You know, we haven't seen you for a long time. Where have you been, young man?
Been around.
Shane?
You're up.
Where do you want me? Just right here? Yeah. That's good, man.
Whatever you'd like to do, Shane.
Rod,
Want to
show
sit
me the
here?
ropes here in the
Rather
room.
be-
Well, welcome. I know most of you, but Shane Maughan, Division Chief here with the Orange County Fire Authority. So I cover Division 3, which is the south end of the county. Pretty much Santa Margarita, Mission Viejo, San Juan, San Clemente, Dana Point, and all the unincorporated areas. So happy to be here. Born and raised San Clemente. My dad worked with you back in the day with the fire department here, so pretty fun. I'll just give some quick update from the OCFA, and if you have any questions. Just some numbers from the last 3 months as far as incidents. Over the last 3 months, we've had 1,529 incidents, and that's for September, October, November, so pretty much standard with all this time of year. It's actually been pretty nice, slow fire season, which is good, and that early rain kind of ended it for us nice and early. So I think we're all getting nervous about the winds coming, but that rain ended it, so they called that the season ending, which is good. Over those 3 months, we did have 8 structure fires. Most of our calls obviously are EMS related, over 1,000 of those, and then 445 other types of calls, which are anything from traffic collisions to hazmat units to public assist to assist the PD. We work with them a lot on incidents. So pretty standard quarter for us. As far as major incidents within the city, it's been slow, fortunately. We did have a working structure fire in September down in south end of town in like a duplex. Pretty good amount of fire coming out of the first floor unit. But engine 60, fortunately, was right around the corner and got a pretty good stop on that before it got too much on the second floor. And then a little fire in November at the Comfort Inn down the south end of town. Fire in the electrical room there on that hotel down there. It was impressive when we got there, and people on the second floor were running out saying there was fire in the second floor. Fortunately, it was not, and it was all held to the electrical room. So those are really the major incidents, which is good. I like reporting small major incidents over a 3-month period. A lot of projects going on with the city. We've been working with the city a lot on planning for fires, getting ready for fires, and really increasing our ability to serve the whole county, but San Clemente specifically. We worked with the city as far as getting a forward operating base for our helicopters. You guys have probably all seen it. There's a helipad right next to Station 59 on La Pata now. I really appreciate the city's help in working through that project. But historically, if you don't know, our helicopters come out of Fullerton for OCFA, which the flight time to here, 12 to 15 minutes. So now anytime there's any kind of fire weather, we pre-stage our Firehawk, our Black Hawk helicopter right here in the city. I think we've done it twice already this year, just to kind of get a quick punch on fire. So that's been really, really nice to have that in place. I appreciate the city on that. We're currently working on trying to get a helipod. So again, vegetation fires are a big threat to the city, obviously. So everything we're doing is trying to limit the exposure to that. Helipods are essentially fire hydrants for helicopters. There are a few of them throughout the county that we've worked on before, but it's basically a tank that will stay there all the time for our helicopters, and the pilots will have a click of a button from the aircraft to automatically start to fill those. So we're working to try and put one down here in the south end of the town, which would be great because with helicopters, it's all about turnaround time to go get water and get back to the fire. From here, they got to go up and over to kind of Ortega area or utilize the golf courses, which can be difficult when there's multiple helicopters here. So that's going to be great, something great that we should have in place before next fire season. That'd be good. Been doing drills with the city staff, the lifeguards, and the sheriffs, and the city staff, and the EOC just did one last week. Went very well. That one was based on a large fire coming into the city. Obviously, there's lots of incidents that we're training for, but been working really hard with the city staff as far as making sure the EOC's up and running, and we all know our roles. And then we train a lot with the sheriff's department, and been doing a lot of that. And as far as that, only other big OCFA business is Chief Hennessy, our fire chief, obviously, probably saw on the news, has been hired. So he's leaving in January. He got hired to be the inaugural chief of the Federal Fire Service. Essentially, all the federal fire agencies will now report to him, and he reports to the Department of Interior. So he's it's a very esteemed position. Obviously, you're like one layer between you and the president. So it's a really big deal for him. I think he's a visionary and just incredible with what he does. So I think it'll be really good for the fire service as a whole there. But it'll create some movement within the OCFA. So we'll see what happens with that.
You're not allowed to leave.
I'm not allowed to leave. Perfect.
I got that. That's not a long
I'll send them a note.
Thank you.
The only thing I'd add is that the EOC, I don't know if you are aware, it is down where the utilities are, kind of down where the sewer plant, the water plant is. It's down in that area. Adam's looking to update it, perhaps bring it to this building. We'll see, but right now we're just making sure everything's working so that we can activate it when necessary. We did that last week, so.
The next time
We will hopefully get you guys a tour of it so you can kind of see what we have available when things go a little bit crazy. The city has a lot of equipment ready to go, and it'd be good for you guys to probably be aware.
The next time we do one of those, is there an opportunity for us to monitor?
Yeah, that's the that room is very small. It's about the size of this room, and there's about twice as many people that are in it.
Do you record it?
Maybe something like that, or maybe we can set it up so that you can at least like observe around the outside of the room, and then when the drill starts and we start doing that kind of stuff, but at least you can kind of see how it's set up and how it operates and some of that kind of stuff. We want to do the same thing for the council. We think that there might be a better location for it. As much as anything, when things are going crazy, there's going to be a lot of utility people trying to do their work, and we don't want to be in their way. As well as this building has some backup generation and some other things. So we're looking at all our options, and Adam may have more to report on that, but that's kind of where we are now. So.
Great, thanks.
But we'll make sure to get you guys set it up and next time we set it up, give you guys a view of it and what it entails.
Thanks, Shane. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Rod?
Good afternoon, committee members. Rob Milan, Marine Safety Chief. I'll give you an update since our last meeting on October 28th. Winter staffing, we're 4 lifeguards a day during the weekdays, 8 on the weekends. We've had above average temperatures, so we've seen an increase normally not seen this time of the year. We've had 3 beach towers open on the weekends, T Street, Linda Lane, and North Beach. Surf and weather conditions. Most notable surf was on November 7th, 4 to 6 foot surf. Water temperature ranging between 62 and 68 since our last meeting. Air temperature 52 to 74 low on that side. We had king tides December 3rd through the 6th, 2 to 4 foot surf, and with that sand replenishment project, it was like 30 feet before it even hit the headwaters. So the sand replenishment project is working, and right now, if you were to look north of the pier, you'd see a ton of sand that has come in the last couple days. Lifeguards, since our last meeting, were involved in 1,242 incidents. We had 11 swimmers in distress that were rescued, no drownings. 423 preventable actions performed, 34 medical incidents. 4 ALS calls were requested OCFA to come down. 774 law enforcement contacts. 1 OCSD request that was for a Ponga landing on Calafia Beach on October 29th. We had 1,478 public education contacts and an estimated attendance of 216,000. We had a shark sighting on October 29th at the pier. 6 encampments reported. 7 special events since the last meeting. We had a contractor that came in and pushed sand to protect the assets on November 3rd through the 7th, right before the king tides. November 26th, we had a slope sloughing on the beach trail at North Beach behind Tower 12. The beach trail was closed to the public for about 2 weeks. And OCTA started delivering steel beams and rebar cages on Sunday night and will continue through March. To construct a 1,400-foot catchment wall, they started drilling today at the north end. In preparation for the cages and the steel beams. I would like to thank our public safety partners, OCSD and OCFA, for their assistance in making this a success, and this concludes my report, so if you have any questions. If not, I wish everyone a happy holiday.
I would say, forget the EOC. If you want to see something impressive, let's go to Rod's office. That's the best office in town. He's got the best view in town. No, but as we wind down for the holidays, I just want to make sure that we thank these guys. We're all winding down, seeing how we can kind of, get relaxed. These guys just go 24/7, 365, and they don't slow down. So we appreciate their efforts. So they do a great job.
They're all great. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, again, the chief is going to send somebody down to update you, I guess, who wasn't aware of this meeting.
Okay.
So you can go out of order, but
Yeah.
I think somebody's going to say.
We'll catch it when we come back down.
Oh, thanks very much.
We've got park rangers. Jim and I are on the ranger committee. We have a meeting with Trevor tomorrow to go over his plans and his needs and what he's going to be doing. So I don't know if there's any report from park rangers other than that.
I don't believe so.
Okay, good deal. And thank Miley for setting us up for a room. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting from October 28th? So moved. Stuart
And I'll second.
and Rosemary. Is there any additions, corrections?
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Do we have any oral communications?
I think we do, but it's on an item that's on the agenda.
Okay. Any unfinished business from one meeting? So, okay. New business. We have, I guess this is yours, B.
So yeah, we have a quick report
Okay.
that was put together mostly by Adam's team. Just wanted to let you know, and I think you've had a chance to read through the report. But basically, we do have a 72-hour rule on our streets, and we have some different ordinances that deal with camping. We have some different ordinances that deal with commercial vehicles and some of those kinds of things. As I was talking with Adam, one of the things we'd like to do is try to find a way to make that a little bit easier for everyone to understand, because some of them are 48 hours, some of them are 72 hours, others you can get a license from the sheriff's department for a week, and so they're kind of all over the place. But the one that may come up tonight is there has been a tendency, and by the way, I'd go through the staff report, but you've had a chance to read it, it's boring to go through it. I don't want to sit here and read to you what you've already read. But one of the things that happens, and we kind of get into this game when people are supposed to move their car, they'll go out and they'll move it a foot, and they'll say, oh, I moved it. And so we play that challenging game a little bit. Well, one of the things that we have in our ordinance for commercial vehicles and campers and some of those kinds of things is when they move, they have to move at least a half a mile. So clearly, that makes it a lot easier to determine that they've moved. They haven't moved 10 inches, they've had to move a half mile. One of the challenges, of course, that we have is that if you have a personal vehicle and you're gone on vacation for, 5 days or something, and you're supposed to move it every 72 hours, or you got to move it a half mile, there are some practical challenges in that. Now, right now, for a commercial vehicle, if you need it to be there longer, an RV, and like if you're packing up to go camping or something like that, you can come to the sheriff and you can get a permit to be on the street longer. But we could end up issuing a lot of permits. So again, there's some practicality and some pragmatic issues that we need to make sure we think about, especially on the west side of our community in particular. There's a lot of street parking. And so we're cautious of that. For instance, there's some new laws right now where you shouldn't be parking within 15 feet of stop sign. If we did that everywhere on the west side, we would really diminish park. Because first we have spaghetti noodles over there, right? It's not a grid, so there's a lot of stop signs. We could potentially lose a lot of parking. So we're trying to be as pragmatic as we can to accommodate the parking needs of the community, but at the same time, our streets are not storage lots. So that's the balance. And the city council wants you to kind of think about that, maybe discuss it a little bit, hear from some people who have some of the challenges in their neighborhood, and then come forward with some recommendations that the staff can kind of develop and perfect, and then we'll take something back to the city council for consideration.
I have a question about moving at a half mile. So if you have a personal vehicle and you park out in front of your house, you've got to park it half mile away, or is that what you're saying?
No, so that applies you can see here in section 1028-230, it's commercial wide vehicles, trailer parking. So some of those more, I don't know what you're saying, larger vehicles, we do have a half mile rule for those. Right now for personal vehicles, it says that you must move them every 72 hours. And we've had people, in fact, I could show you, I don't know what the mayor was showing you, but I could show you a picture of a guy who literally moved his truck about 6 inches, and it says, he wrote right on his truck, aha, I fooled you guys, I moved my truck, or whatever it was. It's like, that's not real helpful. So it's kind of a unique, very difficult system about what to do with personal vehicles. I'll just take a timeout right here and let you guys give a quick report if you have one at all to the
report over here. This is the meeting the captain was supposed to come to. Unfortunately, he's not in, so I just need to stop by. I'm Deputy Martin.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm the motor for the city.
Sure. At the beginning of the meeting, what we just asked for is just a quick report from each one of our public safety departments. I don't know if you have 2 or 3 minutes to share some of the things you've been working on. If you're on motor, tell us about what's going on with traffic and whatnot for maybe a couple of minutes. That'd be real helpful.
Obviously, I'm pretty sure if you guys all live in San Clemente or been here for a while, it's a very traffic area for Avenida Pico during the hours of like 8 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the morning. Or not 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We get a lot of RVs that park around the city because it's a beach city. So we're always towing cars. I just towed a car off of La Plata. Someone just abandoned it out there. So it does help when the city gives us a call, or the residents do, because we have them, and there's probably 6 to 7 of us a shift, so we try to get out to the city as much as humanly possible. But those calls that the residents do definitely do help us out. I mean, yeah, San Clemente is a very busy city. A lot of people coming in and out, but we're doing our best to keep inciting the cars that are out here, towing the vehicles when we can, and making sure that the traffic's cleared up and ready to go.
That's what we're talking about right now is parking.
I'm sure, yeah, parking's always the biggest issue there is.
Maybe we could ask a question on point.
Sure.
So I know with commercial vehicles with trailers, some of those kinds of things, they can stay for up to 72 hours and then they've got to move at least a half mile, so there's some rules
Yes.
with that.
They can, so we
Stay
can,
for 4 hours.
yes, for the trailers, for 4 hours.
Sleeping
But we
vehicles are 4
can't
hours.
tow them for the 4 hours. We can cite them, which we do. I know that there's been a problem trailer, yes,
And
the
he-
white and red trailer that
Yeah,
keeps
he
moving back.
actually works at Ralph's.
Oh, is that right?
And he would, at full time, and he was parked behind, but then their,
Mhm.
the HO, whoever, property manager said, so he parks up on Agua and then walks down to Ralph's. 'Cause
Yes.
He can't undo,
I think I've cited that trailer about
So
12
many
times in the
times.
last like week or something like that. I try to go every 4 hours to cite it. Now, for the tows, when it comes to that, it's very difficult. It has to be 5 sites, and they have 21 days to respond to it. So it's not like, hey, I can give you, like 5 sites and then I'll tow it right then and there. They have to have 21 days to respond to the ticket. So it is, we are keeping track, we're putting notes in the CAD, making sure it is. But that person is very good on paying those tickets.
he
And doesn't
pays.
let them go 21 days, or he fights them and gets them voided out. I don't know who's voiding them out, but we are on top of it.
Voting
We're
them
trying to
out.
get them out. but-
So the item we're talking about in particular tonight is actually personal vehicles on residential streets.
Okay.
And they can park up to 72 hours unless they get a permit from you. I think at that point, sometimes they can stay longer, like if they're
Yes.
loading an RV to go to the desert for the weekend
Yeah,
or whatever.
a lot of the residents call on their neighbors. I don't know if they've ever met them before or not. But yeah, a lot of we call them 917As, the illegal or the abandoned vehicles. Yeah, most of the time they're just neighbors.
And they'll move them just, a couple feet.
Yeah, when we chuck and mark the tires to make sure, we have 72 hours to move the vehicle. If not, we tow them. But yeah, most people around here, obviously, yeah, they come out and they see it, and they move it across the street, and unfortunately, we have to start the time clock again to mark and tag them again.
So when you're chalking them, do we know how far someone would have to drive to get the chalk off of it? Or is it
So
roughly?
the chalk is not on the tires, it's on the roadway.
Oh.
So I take a chalk
Okay.
and I put it in between the tire and out, so,
Okay.
the line's outside of it, so I have to see that, it's removed. But most of the time, no one's moving an inch. They're usually just going, making a U-turn on the other side of the street.
So, good timing. Came in right when we were talking about this issue. So what we have is a resident who approached the city council at their last city council meeting and asked the city council if something could be done about some of the on-street storage of vehicles. And the city council asked us to bring this item to the Public Safety and Welfare Committee and ask them for recommendations and to maybe discuss this and bring a recommendation for the city council to consider. So I know you guys are busy. Feel free to leave, but if you want to stay, that's going to be the item that they're going to be talking about. They may have some questions
Sure.
for you. So yeah.
Did you take Bruno's spot?
I did take Deputy Bruno's spot.
Boy, the bar was set kind of high, huh?
Well,
Yeah, that was pretty high.
he ran out of ink most of the time, which was good. He was good at slowing people down. So that was good timing because that was pretty much the end of the staff report. I know that the party that approached the city council is here today, and you had some items in your packet that they provided to the city council as well, so you could get a chance to look at that. But unless there's any immediate questions of staff, we'd love to hear from the residents who have expressed some concerns that they're having in the neighborhood.
So, did I hear you say that we already have a 72-hour ordinance?
Correct.
Okay.
You should not have a car on a public street for more than 72 hours without it moving. So,
Is this person a resident?
D is right.
Yeah, they're here. They're here.
The
Oh,
person that they're,
Oh.
that we're talking about here,
I-
are they a resident of your neighborhood?
I don't know the answer.
We're a resident, and the person that's involved with this is also a resident
Also.
as well, yes.
Okay.
So they have multiple cars and are storing them on the street?
Correct.
What kind of neighborhood is it?
It's a residential, it's over in Shore Cliffs,
Whereabouts in Short Cliffs?
on Via Bandita, over by the DMV, just up a few blocks
It's
from.
it's close to you, Jim.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
He
But
s-
this
sounds
is-
like he maybe
It's
he's
not
seen
your
this.
car.
I can see that.
And I will add, the issues that were raised, Mr. Coleman here, this is not germane to just Short
Right.
Cliffs.
Right.
It's not the
city
first time we've
receives
heard
these
this.
types of complaints all throughout the city.
That's correct.
If it's all right to kind of give you a little background information, may I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way it works is that we have a staff report, they ask any questions of staff, and then they open it up for oral communication. So anytime you're ready, we're good to go.
Fine with me.
Okay.
Use that up.
I'll just roll up if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Does she have a,
Yeah, perfect.
So, this whole issue started with a neighbor 4 or 5 years ago now, where they moved in and the old neighbor moved out. And like Deputy, what's your last name?
Martin.
Martin. Like Deputy Martin said, some of these people, when they call, never even go see their neighbors. And one of the things that kind of blossoms from this can be just, neighbor feuds. Because, oh, you called on me, why did you call on, creates friction. And so, but we went to the neighbor, asked them politely, can you do something about the car? And nothing happened. So I had to resolve to the city. Called up, they came out, and they did it. Well, since then, I've had probably 30 calls over the last 5 years now on that one car. And I'm at the point now where calling the police is a waste of their time. I think what happened here, they had a new carport that was being built, and I laid off of calling the sheriff because it is a big waste of their time. They have to come out and they go back, and like you said, it starts all over again, and then they come back. And but I thought they were going to move the cars in when they completed this carport, and I had actually spoken to Adam about this, and yeah, they have a permit and it's going in. I thought, okay, I'll just wait, be a good neighbor, and see if they'll put the cars under. They didn't. As a matter of fact, they put another one back out in the street and just left it there, so it became a bigger problem. The 72-hour rule has been a state law that was established back in 1959. It's a very outdated, obsolete law. But when I went to the neighbor just recently in the last few weeks, I go, man, I'm trying to just be a good neighbor with you. How can we resolve this? Is there any way, about this car? You've left it here. And he goes, I'm just going to keep playing the game. Like he said, it's a game. I think somebody else said it here. It's a game. And they'll move it out of the chalk box, and that's it. So we're not the only city in the state of California that has this problem. We're not the only state in the country that has this problem. People take their cars in residential neighborhoods, and they think that they can just park them on the streets for as long as they want and never have to move them. We have a complaint-driven system right now. It only happens when we call in, and that's when it'll become a problem. I think when a neighbor has to call in on this and calls in on it, that is a problem. And the people should be respectful of the law. I mean, we don't allow them run through red lights. We don't allow them to drive over the speed limit. We have a law that says you got to move your car after 72 hours. It's designed for people. You, Stuart, I think you asked, is it a personal car? And these people are not driving the cars on a regular basis. We have our daughter who's a nurse who goes in and out, and she parks on the curb, but she's not there for more than 24, 48 hours at a time. This car's been there for 4.5, 5 years. If you look at some of those pictures, there's Google pictures of that car that's been there on the Google satellite. And if you go there right now, all those vehicles have not been moved. Since I've been to the council meetings, there's a trailer across a block over. There's a guy that does off-road riding. He's got his race vehicles that are parked on the street. So it's not just exclusive to just our neighbor. And so the different cities in our area, if you look on there, Dana Point, the city of San Diego. The city of San Diego voted 5-0 that they wanted to implement a half-mile rule to where these people won't be moving them out of the box. They want to stop playing the games because it's a drain on our resources. It's a drain on the city services. Our streets aren't getting swept. It compromises the safety of the street. The people can't walk on the street. They're walking in the middle of the street if the cars are there. So there's a lot of issues at play here that make this, I think, what's the right word? Something that's necessary at this stage. The obsoleteness of the law, the ineffectiveness of what the law is doing, and also the frictions that it's causing with our city is something that we really don't need, that can be changed with a simple ordinance. Just don't park your cars, park them in your driveway. The city of Irvine actually has a thing when they give the warning that says, this is your warning, you can't park here, you have to park, please park in your personal space. Don't park in the street. I don't know if it's attached to there or not. And I had a chance to talk to the head person for the city of Irvine, and I forwarded the information to Adam as well. But she said that the people play the game, and chalking the tires has proven to be ineffective. So what they do is they call it their secret system. They put a penny, which we don't have anymore, or maybe a nickel, or a paper clip on the tire, and then that they don't actually mark it, and then they'll go back and document it, and that's a way of keeping track of how that is. But these different cities, San Diego, Dana Point, Irvine, multiple cities, I think the list is in there, have already implemented this rule before now. And I think that we should consider making a change. And if we don't make the change, it's still going to be a problem that's going to go on. And if we're not going to fix it, maybe then I guess the alternative would be to just let people store and park their cars on the street. But we all know that's not a real solution. So I think if we adopt some of the rules that maybe the city of San Diego have done, they've researched it, they've created the ordinance. There's not a lot of background ordinance that we have to, what's the right word, do a study on. It's already in place at multiple cities, even Dana Point right next to us. They have a half-mile limitation. So that would be my recommendation that I'm just throwing out for you to consider today, respectfully. I guess that's.
Do you guys have an HOA in Shore Cliffs?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the homeowners, it's the beach club.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this is a problem citywide, and it's created a rift with our neighbor. I mean, there's some people that are going to be respectful, and then there's some people that aren't, and we've got the problem. The other thing is the car, in my opinion, degrades the look of the community. You saw a picture of it. Rick passed it along. We've got another guy that's got a tent trailer parked on the opposite side of the street. That's not what it's there for. I'm not calling the police right now to bother them. I'm coming to the city and asking for some forgiveness to try and help fix this. It's really asking for the help.
Is there a period of time that they have to move their car away a half a mile? How long does that have to stay that way? Can they come back that night and bring it back and park it?
No, what they're basically trying to say is you just need to move your car out of the area is what it is. It's going to be a complaint-driven system for somebody that's doing it on a regular basis. They'll give them one warning, then they'll come back, and then you have to move it a half mile away. And I think after they do it a couple of times, I don't know if Adam spoke to the gal or not, but I didn't go into that much detail as what she said is, the law has changed dramatically and helped clean up the problem and mitigated a lot of the deputy interface and even the resident interface, and it's really been a good help. But people still do it. But it's been a much better program since they've implemented it. So that's the only thing that is. I think when they know they have to move it a half mile, then they get tired of having to do it. The game's over. The game's over.
The game is over.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. How do you know so is this anyone that can call in on any car? Like you're saying you can park in your own spot, but no one has a right to the street. It's open to everyone.
Sure.
I'm just curious on how they're, if you parked your car out on the street in front of your house, could your neighbor call in on that? on your car and saying, hey, you need to move this half mile away? I'm just kind of curious on how
So-
that gets.
I did talk to the person from Irvine, and Irvine, because you have to understand, Irvine's a different type of community, not quite like ours, and they're very stringent on parking there. It's a master plan community, Irvine company, blah blah blah. But I said, well, what about retribution? What's going to happen? What happens? She goes, yeah, people call in, but we know, and if the car is being moved. A person that's moving their car on a regular basis is not going to have a problem. It's the guy that's parking his car at a full-time basis. That's the guy that's the problem. It really does not come down. The retribution, they can call on there, but it's a warning, and as long as it's being moved or not. Then the police officers will go back out and they'll put the paper clip or whatever on there. She also said that you can, because what happens is the people that keep their cars out there, they get dirty. They're not taking care of them. The cobwebs start showing up. If you come out to the car over by our place, you'll see all the cobwebs and you'll see everything on the other cars that are in the neighborhood. And I've got pictures of all over the years of what they've got. But it's really going to, the law affects the person that's breaking the law. A person that's driving to work and just using their car or whatever, maybe they're getting stuff out of their garage, they park it out there. Maybe it's 2-3 days, maybe it's 4 or 5 days, but the neighbor's not going to call unless they're abusing the system in most cases.
Okay. Pasadena has a great solution to all of it. There is no overnight parking in the city of Pasadena. If you're a resident, you'll pay a certain fee. Once a year, you'll get a sticker, you can park on the street. No sticker, he's towing it right then, no warning. All right, it's gone.
But how many stickers do they give out?
What?
I mean, how many stickers, like, will they give this person a sticker that?
They're paying for it.
Okay.
And, I'm not recommending this, I'm just telling you that it exists, and it works really well. There's signs posted at every entrance of Pasadena, no overnight parking. So, but we're a residential community, we're a family community. We live in a condo. I have a car, my fun car, I can't park it anywhere. It's stored in a warehouse. I have to drive 20 miles to get it out and go drive it.
What kind of car is that?
It's just a red car.
It's a McLaren.
You don't keep your Ferrari at your house anymore? I was just asking.
No, I do not keep my Ferrari. Matter of fact, I had to sell one of my Ferraris. I had 2 of them because I didn't want to store 2 of them.
Has anybody got
Thank
a
you very much.
Michael, sorry.
We're a residential community, and we've got families, and Denise and I have 3 cars, okay? Families probably have 5, okay? So we have to come up with something that'll work for everybody. But to me, trailers, okay, like a camping trailer, should be off the street. If it's not moved in 3 days, 72 hours, it should go.
4 hours.
Okay. Well, no, not 4 hours because they went camping. They're parking it there. They're going to load it. They're going to go camping, and they come back in a week and unload it and get rid of it.
And we have permits for that circumstance.
Yeah. So there's an answer. Back in the day, when 35 years ago, LA parking people would actually look inside, and if that car hadn't moved a half a mile on the odometer since it was ticketed, all right. That doesn't work now though because everything's electronic and you can't see the mileage, all right. But on the older cars with the digital or the manual odometers, it worked. So there's a lot of things we can think about, but we got to be able to let people park their cars and keep this a family community. But there's people that abuse, and we should try to figure out what we can do.
When the street sweepers come by, do they give them a ticket for that?
The problem with Short Cliffs is there's no posted signage for the street sweepers. So they're just going around those guys that are parked there all the time. They're not moving them. That's another issue that we need in Short Cliffs. We need posted street signage. Like in Long Beach, you leave your car there on street sweeper days. They have a parking patrol just goes right behind there, and they're knocking them off right and left and generating income every week.
I used to get a
that same
notice.
program.
I used to get a notice from the city saying that we're going to sweep your street on a certain day. And if your car's in the street, you're going to be ticketed.
Is that a city street or your HOA? Why don't we put signs up there? Street.
Yeah, we
That's
could.
another revenue maker.
We could,
for the city.
and we have the same program where we have a company that follows right behind
Yeah.
the sweeper and we ticket cars.
Because that makes, help a little bit because.
It would help. Yeah, it would
help.
definitely help.
They'd have to move their
And-
cars somewhere.
Yeah, but it's not there. I've asked about that. That was about 3 years ago, and I don't know, Adam, where we are with that. I know we've had that discussion.
Concern has been relayed to Public Works, and I've connected you with them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the status of that request is.
I tried to reach the Public Works guy on multiple occasions, never got a response back, never got a call, nothing. And so that's when, again, I came back. That's why I'm here in front of you today. It's that, yeah, that would help, but when's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? It's not going to stop.
Right.
It's not going to stop.
He's just gonna move it that night before,
Yeah.
probably in his driveway or whatever, and then put it back out.
The
On
object,
your street, is there ample parking on your street?
yeah, there is.
And the car's in working order?
Car's in great working order.
No, with the red truck.
Yeah, it drives.
Oh, the beat up the thing that's been an accident. Oh, that drives.
Yeah, and then they have an orange car. And it got so bad with the neighbor that there was parking up and down the street. And last time they took the car and parked it right behind our driveway. And she walks up the street to go to her house, and she has parking in her driveway. So it's not just the parking; it's the discontent that goes on with this. I don't want to have to deal with them. They honestly don't want to have to deal with me. He doesn't want to have to deal with it. His job is to go out and keep the peace. Let's just keep it easy with a simple ordinance. And now nobody has to do it. It's just, that's the law. The law that we have now just does not work. It's ancient age news.
Let me just see if I can clarify. Is that, because I thought earlier I heard that we do have a 72-hour
For some vehicles.
for some. So what would the proposal be?
We have some different times for different vehicles, and we have some different distance requirements for different types of vehicles. And Adam, by the way, is much more versed in that and could give us probably way more detail than I have.
Okay.
But there's several different kind of layers, if you will, of street parking.
Well, I mean, the biggest difference, we have passenger vehicles and we have wide commercial and recreational vehicles. The wide recreational and commercial vehicles, they're all limited generally to no more than 4 hours. In some instances, they're not allowed to park on in certain corridors anyways. And the requirement there is that they can either get a permit to extend it for more than 4 hours, or they have to move it at least half a mile. The thing with these ordinances is that it talks about it needs to have moved at least half a mile from its previous position. Doesn't necessarily mean it can't be driven half a mile and then parked back in the same place. It's just trying to get, it's trying to deal with the potential non-operability of certain vehicles. The other difference is that wide commercial and recreational vehicles cannot be parked in front driveways on private property. That's a different section of the code that prohibits that. For passenger vehicles, moving half a mile might get, I don't know exactly how we would address this if somebody's on the street, they see their car, the ground being chalked, and they move it onto their driveway where it's legally allowed to be. They leave it there for a couple days and then move it back onto the street. Are we gonna, but trying to track these things, there's a lot of nuance here. And I just want to caution against the, moving at a minimum distance could still result in
Right.
seeing the same car in the same place every day.
Can I ask
So there's, I
a
think there's
question?
ways to
Because
think.
I was out with DE, looking at this situation. And I think we even talked about it. I think some cities have resident parking permits, like Mike was talking about Pasadena. And I don't know how they decide how many permits, but I think it's based on the number of drivers of the house or something like that. And,
People with driver's licenses.
right, and they get a permit for every person there. And if you want more than that, you've got to pay like $300 a month or something for another permit. So at least that keeps people from storing cars usually on the street. I don't know if we've talked about it before.
I don't think that'll solve this, because if you give this guy a residential parking permit, he's gonna park his car there. He's
How
not
many
bothering.
Well, I think they
anybody.
have more cars than drivers.
How many cars does he have?
residents.
They have 1, 2, 3, 4,
And how many drivers, 2?
2.
So that would, if you want to pay the extra cost to put your car in the, of course, I guess, I'm putting 4 cars on the street now, at least that would cut it down to 2. They put the ones that they could have the
Yeah,
permits.
but I mean, say for example, your son's away from college and he comes home and he doesn't have a parking permit because he wasn't there at the time that you did that, but now he's at home.
He parks in the driveway.
But maybe you don't have a driveway. Maybe you're like you.
Well, just
Maybe he lives in a. So my point is that.
just like the RVs,
I
I
also have a house in San Clemente, or I'm sorry, in Santa Monica, and they have residential parking there, and it's 4 permits per household. That's it. You get 4. Anything else after that is you have to purchase it, an additional fee for that, and those are temporary. But the other ones are permanent. So you get 4 cars. You can either designate them for the 4 cars you have, or you can do it for 2, and then have 2 what they call visitor ones. So someone comes over to your house and want to use that to park, they can do that too. But that's not going to solve your problem.
Yeah.
Because there's ample parking in Short Cliffs. You can park on the other side of the street. No offense, but this is a problem because you don't like looking at this guy's car.
No, it's not that. Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
Okay.
But then oh, go ahead.
No, it's part.
That's part of it.
But it's a
I
wrap.
don't know how you regulate or legislate that.
Well, the law is the car's not supposed to be parked for more than 72 hours.
I understand what the law is, okay? I understand what the law is, but he can move that car from this side of the street to the other side of the street and comply with the law.
He can
That's not
move
going to
it.
solve your problem, though.
No, you're right, and he
Okay.
can move it 6 inches. You're exactly right.
Exactly. So I just don't know how you regulate that or legislate that.
So
I don't like your car.
Well, it's not just one car; it's 2 cars. It's the guys at the end of the street.
I
It's-
get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I just don't know how you regulate that. I don't like your car. You're in a single family home just like me, but you park your car out here and I don't like looking at it.
I don't mind looking at it. It's when it's more than 72 hours and it's been there for 4 years.
I bet
There's a
you
difference.
I can go up and down
We're
like
just-
Short
we're
Cliffs and
recording.
find 25 homes that have people that park their car out there that last longer than 72 hours and no one complains.
Jim, we're going around in circles with this, okay? I'd like to suggest that we ask the vehicle and e-bike safety program contingent to add this to maybe come back with a deliverable on it. All right? And, think about the street sweeping.
Sorry.
Thank
I had
you.
one
Thanks,
question.
Debbie.
Please.
But it was outside of this, so. Who would be the best person to talk to, or persons, at Presidente and the Calafia offer? Because I think that's one of the most dangerous intersections we have in our city. I'll bet there's an accident there.
There's a lot of accidents.
I'll bet there's, I bet it's the highest accident rate in
I would say Palizada is worse.
Yeah.
Palazzato's bad. Yeah, I got
They
yeah.
got 3 stop signs over there that you can't really see them that far away.
Well, the problem I see with the Calafia is off-ramp is that it's really a Caltrans CHP issue because they're coming off there way too hot. And I mean, I'll say, because I get off there all the time, I live right down there.
You're making a sharp right turn.
So,
going
somebody's
70,
running,
65.
you can see where somebody has run through there, gone across the street, I mean, almost like monthly, somebody has crashed their car in there. And we have a lot of bikes, usually. Not so much pedestrians. Right, bicycles. it's just a matter of time before one of them are gonna get clipped by a car out of control coming through there. Who can we discuss with coming in with some measures that maybe can slow those vehicles down on their approach?
I immediately that's dealing with CHP
Yeah.
with the freeway on there. Anything that's related with an off ramp with the freeway, that's all CHP.
And we've submitted some information to Caltrans on that. We're waiting to meet up with one of their engineers to see if something can be done.
Okay, that's what I was curious.
People across the street have said, you know, the city needs to do something like put in bollards or something. The city doesn't want to, we don't want to adopt that liability or that problem. It's not a city problem. They're coming off the freeway. So we want to be careful about admitting that there's a problem there because it's not our problem. We don't want to assume Caltrans' problem on that particular stretch of road. That's a problem, but we don't want it to be our problem. So, because someone is going to get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be an expensive.
Yeah.
It's going to be an expensive case.
I'm just surprised they haven't had a fatality there yet, because the way those kids ride those e-bikes through there, they just right through that intersection.
Yeah. And he basically.
Yeah, that old attractive nuisance law gets us.
All right. Mike, so you have a subcommittee or something that's going to
Yes.
further look at that? Is that right?
We assigned it to the Vehicle and E-Bike Safety Program Subcommittee.
Okay.
May I just make one final comment, and I'll be complete?
Thank you. Sir, if you have any calls, please give us a call. That's why we're out here. And if we can help, you can just mark them and it scares them a little. Not scared, but determine.
I've made 30 in the last 4 years.
I'm
So
sure.
I'm just-
But yeah, I'm just saying, please.
I don't want to waste your
please
time.
feel
He's
free
new
to
on the
call.
job.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Eager.
here.
Steve, what street are you on?
Via 2701 via Bandita.
Okay.
But my final comment is this. Newport Beach, Lomita, San Diego, Highland, California, Pismo Beach, City of Orange, Winters, Garden Grove, all within just the last few years have modified that 72-hour rule. They have the same problem as me. They don't want to look at the guy's car. So if it's not just that, there's a lot more.
It's a 72-hour rule that they have to move it a half a mile.
Just no, they've gone up to 100 feet, half a mile, 1/10 of a mile, but they've all modified their
Where they
ordinance
have to move it.
compared to
not
what we
inches.
currently have.
All right, gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Steve.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Andy, can you tell us about the social service / community service budget committee?
I'm going to have.
If you don't mind, I will steal
Well,
Andy's
President,
time
that's
and
right.
answer those
Fine,
questions
thank you.
myself. Good afternoon. My name is Adam Matamian. I'm the Community Development Director. The item before you is a selection of one of the members of this committee to serve on the city's Social Service Budget Committee. This is a group that meets once a year to review social service grant applications that where funding is made available through the city's Community Development Block Grant Program. We generally have about $45,000 worth of funds to dispense. There are, I'll say, in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 groups that receive this funding or that apply for it and can receive this funding. In addition to a member of this committee, there is one member from the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Commission that is also on this budget review committee, and as well as myself, our CDBG consultant, and one of my staff, our management analyst from the Community Development Department. And then there's one council representative, and that is, for the next year, will be Mark Enmeyer.
I think we reviewed this at a prior meeting, and we changed that to be not just one member, but we're going to assign one or more members of this committee.
So the council revised the duties of the committees, and that was necessary when the Human Affairs Committee was disbanded to, along with the Public Safety Committee, to create the Community Safety and Welfare Committee. By ordinance, one member of this committee is to be selected as part of that committee. So there's no opportunity here to expand the membership or change how that is. There are still 2 members of committees or commissions. It's just that one of those members is from the BPR Commission, the other member is from this committee.
Is everyone familiar with the CDBG program, what it funds and what it doesn't fund? Okay, so the Community Development Block Grant Program is for low and moderate income persons in the community, and it comes from HUD. And we are able, they love bricks and mortar. They'll do social programs, and that's great. But they love it when we use it, for instance, to maybe to fix a water line or a sidewalk in a low-income area. So we use a lot of our funding for ADA and other improvements for low and moderate income persons, but we also reserve a portion of that for nonprofit organizations that provide some of those services in our community, like the Boys and Girls Club, and what are some of the other regulars?
Family Assistance Ministries is pretty regular. The city has a program, Fun on the Run. That's been an applicant.
It's the Boys and Girls
Seniors
Club,
Club.
the Senior Center.
Yeah, some of those things.
Yeah, the Senior Center. We also have some groups like Vocational Visions that do job training for folks that have been disabled, have a disabling condition.
So this committee takes that portion of the CDBG allocation that we get from the federal government and decides how to cut that into slices for these groups.
Yeah,
that's basically
the allocation is not equal across the board. It's based on the need and the perceived good that they're doing for the residents.
So Adam, you said your pot is 45,000.
That's typically what it's in that. It's in that range.
How many?
6 or 7.
6 or 7 historically, but that all depends on applications. One thing I will say is that there have been some changes to the federal funding and eligibility requirements that may change how many applicants we get this year, but we know what our allocation is, so we know the pot will be about 45,000.
I hate to be the dog with the ball, but Rick, do you know why the council said we should limit it to only one member from this committee?
It was because we've done it the last 2 years when we've been on Human Affairs, but when they split the committees, they put half of us on this committee and the other on BPNR. So it's one from BPNR and one from here.
But why would you want to limit it? Why would you want to limit it from this group to be only one?
Well,
Just one.
it was a numbers thing. We combined, beaches and parks with the Coastal Advisory Committee and Human Affairs and Public Safety Committee, and we just combined them. So
Sir,
it's just,
they're asking for one volunteer.
I've done it the last 2 years. I'll do it. It's very easy.
I've done it for 3 years.
We've done it for 3 years.
The budget review committee itself is it's maintaining the same numbers that it's had.
I'm just saying. I wrote and received a $250,000 CDBG grant when I was in the police department to do some things there. So I have a wealth of knowledge as far as the rules and regulations of that. But I obviously see there's a bunch of people in this room that wants to do this too. So however you guys decide.
And they've done
I'm just saying I know a little bit about that.
They've done it before. Do we want to put new blood in
Yeah,
there?
you want to do it?
No, listen, obviously, be quiet. It's totally up to you,
Okay, so who wants to do it? Stuart, if you want to do it, is that okay, Rosemary?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we'll take Stuart.
All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you all.
All righty. Communications. Do we have something from the junior leadership program?
Well, we did our first class the end of October,
That's
and
fantastic.
it was awesome. So thank you, Andy. We did it. We
That was
put
fun.
it together very, very quick, and each department head did an awesome job presenting.
Especially Samantha.
Oh, yeah.
She had those guys playing, these high school kids that are too cool for school. She had them playing games that year that there was no way she was going to get those kids to participate. She did.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She's really good.
Yeah. So it went really well, and I heard all positive feedback from all the kids. Pretty much everyone really enjoyed it.
And again, there's programs going on that a lot of us don't know about, a lot of us haven't seen. So when we're doing something like this, could you at least let the committee know when it's happening so we can go and observe? So maybe, if we
You know
have
what,
input.
on this one, it came about so
Okay,
quick.
but I'm just saying in
Yeah,
the
we
future,
will. Okay.
in the future, I think that the more we know about everything that's going on in the city, the more effective we can be as a committee. Okay? Potentially bike licensing.
Yeah, what's going on with that, Andy?
So the last time we talked, we were all watching to see if there'd be any legislation that it gets introduced. I think there will be some legislation introduced. I talked with our Sacramento people last week. It's floating around, but no one's put their name on it yet. So probably have to report to you in the next meeting. Now, we could get out in front of it, but it sounds like it's one of those programs that everyone in the state's having the same program. So it might be wise, rather than have to do the program twice, wait to see what, because the state's really sensitive, right? They've really, really pressed for bikes. All the funding has gone to bike paths, everything's gone to help us get more bikes on the street. And now look what we've created. So now we need to set, they've done a really good job getting bikes on the street, but now we need to find a way to better. But in fairness, I don't know that even any of us in this room could have foreseen that the bikes that they have could literally now go 20 or 30 miles, and you could go up the steep hills like we have here in this community. And so I see the biking in this community increasing because of the new bikes, because before you weren't going to pedal a bike in this community, so that's why we're seeing such an explosion. I would anticipate in this legislative session they're going to do something about licensing. There's been a lot of talk about, well, no one can ride an e-bike unless they're 16. It goes back to, I think, the earlier comment. I don't know how in the world you're going to enforce it. You can put anything you want on the books. Enforcing it is the real. And telling a kid you can't be on a bike, it's going to be a tough haul. So we're waiting to see. Maybe the state's going to license anybody over 6. But we've all seen it. Kids riding bikes right down here on Pico. They don't stop at the stoplights. They just go right on through because they don't know those rules, and to them they're invincible. Nothing can kill me. The car's going to get hurt if it hits my bike. And we understand, we were all kids, and we understand that invincibility. But I think that they are going to have to take a really hard look at what they're doing with e-bikes, because e-bikes aren't what they used to be.
No.
So.
And
But we're watching close.
Continue to, get faster.
And better bikes, yeah, exactly.
Yes, and then the new gyro cycles, is that what they're called? They're just one wheel, right? But they don't fall over somehow.
Yeah.
And they go really fast. I think they go faster than the e-bikes. They're all over Oceanside right now, and they really go fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but they just sit there like this.
Segway started off. Segway was a company that came about probably 15 years ago. And that was the bike that has gyros in it, and basically it keeps the person level, and if you lean forward, then it goes forward, and basically it's all in how you transfer your weight onto this platform. They just transitioned that from a 2-wheel. You saw the movie Paul Blart Mall Cop. He's riding around that little scooter. Well, the company Segway gave a whole bunch of those to police departments, and we put officers on it. Oh my God. I had so many workers' comp complaints from people falling off.
These unicycles, they scare me. They're going 30, 40 miles an hour, and they're sitting on a unicycle, and I'm like,
But you bring up a really good point about waiting. And I think our waiting is twofold. One, yes, let's see what the state comes up with, okay? Because that'll dictate where everybody goes. But we're at the mercy of the sheriff's department, and we have to see where they go.
That's a great point. They only enforce what they do.
And so regardless of whatever work or place things we want to put into place, it's whether or not they're going to enforce it, and they're going to put the people out necessarily to do that, unless we come up with an alternative solution with our park rangers to possibly fill in that gap. So the waiting part is probably the most prudent because it gives us an opportunity to kind of like see, but at the same time, behind the scenes, I think we can anticipate what it is that we want to do and maybe.
And this is kind of combining the last 2 items on your agenda, but one of the things that has been talked about is, the west side has a parking issue. Worse than the east side. The east side does too, but the west side has really got a parking issue. You can't take parking off the street there. I agree. I lived in La Quinta. La Quinta didn't allow any on-street parking, period. Yeah, they made you look inside your garage, and your garage had to be able to store cars. You couldn't store anything in your garage. That was just part of the rules. Because they have so much sand out there, much more sand than we have. So they have to keep sand off the streets, or you're in big trouble out there. So one of the things that we might be able to look at is to solve some of our parking problems is encouraging more bikes and golf carts. And yet they're awkward for everybody and people get a little frustrated by golf carts and bikes. So we're going to have to come to some peace in our community about how cars and golf carts and bikes and pedestrians all fit together.
I agree with that.
Coming up Avenue Del
100%.
Coming up Avenue Del Mar, parking place, and it's a golf cart.
Yeah, there's going to need to be more because you can actually find a place to
You know
park.
what's interesting is, what I think needs to change is, I think the golf carts right now, they're getting ticketed if they're not parked parallel to the curb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can fit in the other way. And
Yeah, if they
then
had in
can
parking, you
put-
can almost get two in there.
Yes, and I think that we need to look at that because RSVP tickets them all the time.
I didn't know they had to park pillar. So if they had in park, they get tickets.
The wheels have to be by the curb.
Didn't know
But
that.
you could get two in a spot, and then that eliminates or alleviates some of the parking
But
issues.
they're also sticking out, okay? If they're parked, if they're backed into the curb.
But they're no further out than a car that
Oh,
would
they
be
are.
parked there. They are?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Some of them. No, there's golf carts and then there's golf carts.
Correct. But if you're going to encourage more bicycles and you're going to encourage more golf carts for the purposes of alleviating traffic and all those other things, it only makes sense that you're gonna have to provide designated parking for those
Yeah.
particular things. Because to your point, nothing infuriates a car driver more than anything to
Having a
find
Harley, having a Harley sit in there.
Well, exactly.
But
Yeah.
we're accustomed to seeing motorcycles, all right? We're not accustomed.
I still hate it when they take a parking spot, but you know.
Yeah,
Of course,
no,
you're
exactly,
not
yeah.
accustomed to seeing
Yeah.
a golf cart like in a parking space, right?
Yeah.
And you're, especially when it's only taking up 3/4 of the space, and you're like, well, I'm gonna get my car in there. So
Or
that
maybe
would-
look down at the beach areas and find areas where you can
Key Street
do
is
golf carts.
so many bikes on Key
Certain,
Street.
certain golf, area just to put golf carts where you can put more in there.
All these are things that I think that e-bike
Exactly.
and, that e-bike and transportation committee is going to be really busy because I think that's the issue of the day right now. There was homeless 2 years ago.
Let's keep one meeting here.
E-bikes.
All right, let's keep
Let's
going.
keep one meeting here.
All
Community safety and welfare items. I don't know what this was put on for, but I do have a community safety and welfare item I'd like to propose. I left you an email or a voicemail. I want to see another subcommittee for neighborhood watch.
Right. So
Because, I mean, when you talk about communications, Ryan can hit one email and it'll go to block captains and emails will go out within the next 5 minutes to everybody in that neighborhood. So,
we talked a little bit about that in our department head meeting after I got your email. And one of the things we were going to suggest is that neighborhood watch in San Clemente probably needs to be expanded beyond crime watch. And it probably needs, we need to start to educate our residents about fire watch, for example. So that when there's a fire, we know there's a calling tree. We know how many people are in each resident, whether or not they've been, so we're going to need to help when that kind of a circumstance. So we're thinking about coming to you and maybe augmenting the typical neighborhood watch program to include perhaps fire watch.
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
The block captains, they love what they do. You give them more responsibility.
They make 20 calls, and each block captain, whatever, makes 20 or 30 calls. We can't call one in town, but they can.
The block captains, they're not even making calls.
They're getting it out to the next people.
Text messages out. Okay.
Along that line, do you have a geographical map for the neighborhood watch?
Yes. Yeah, Ryan does, yeah.
I know, do we have it here?
I can bring that.
Yeah,
And,
I'd like to see.
and the sheriff has some really good, it's really good programming where they know how many people are supposed to be in each house. So they go through and they'll knock out, when there's 4 people identified in a home and they've evacuated, they send something up in the cloud and it marks that house as being checked off. The problem you have is that assumes everybody's home when there's a fire, and that's just not always the case. And that's why these neighborhood groups become really, really important, because there may be people visiting or they may be on vacation, and the sheriff's wasting time going into a home where these people are on vacation. You don't need, so we can check off that home, move to the next one. So just some important things.
So, having Neighborhood Watch has been around for a really long time. But as the evolutionary process has come around with law enforcement, it has become, it's moved from the front burners to the middle to the back, where we then move more towards community liaison police officers and things of that nature. And the primary message of Neighborhood Watch was a medium for the police department to convey to the residents subject matter things that are of importance and advisory things and things of that nature. And what I'm finding out with this committee is that as a city, we have lots of things that we would like to communicate to our residents, and we just don't have the medium or haven't created the medium or the methodology in order to get that out there, whether it's fire watch, whether it's e-bike safety, whether it's a lot of these things. And so by enhancing what it is that we do with Neighborhood Watch through this committee and having us participate into the committees, go to these meetings, we can then, with the Sheriff's Department, when they want to talk about whatever it is that's their hot topics, we can then convey the issue, the things that we want to talk about, the things that we want to bring out to them and convey to them, because we're now in front of the parents, we're in front of the property owners, we're in front of all of the people that are actually part of the community, the fabric of what it is that we're trying to do, versus the 7 people that come to the same city council meeting and talk about the same 7 things that they complain about every other time, right? I know I can say that, but you can't.
I can't say. I can tell you their names though.
I know, I can pick them out of the agenda, and I don't really looked at it 3 times, but you know what I mean?
So yeah, along those lines, there are some really great programs that we're trying to get people to join up, like Duty Watch. Everyone should have that. And I don't know how many of our residents do, but we need to get in their homes and say, this app, you've got to have it. This is the way the sheriff's gonna, get a hold of you if there's a fire. Let me pull it up, make sure.
We're not doing OC alerts?
OC alerts will do it, but this actually shows you where the evacuations are happening in real time.
Okay.
It's called Watch Duty. And everybody should download that app.
Exactly, to my point, is that if all of us bring together a different perspective and knowledge of what it is that we think is important. But if we can then maybe synthesize that down to the 4 or 5 different things that we want to bring out, and then as we have our meetings, we come up with more things. We schedule these Neighborhood Watch meetings probably maybe quarterly.
Well, the thing is anything, I've dealt with Ryan for a long time, anything we come up with that is of community interest, he will send out. Okay, whether it's Watch Duty, okay, go get it, tell other people. He's not your typical law enforcement person. So he's really sharp, and I think
that's what makes him a.
I think there's a really. He's just so community oriented. I think there's an importance of both. I agree with you 100%. I can say that I think that our residents once in a while would love to see the faces that are on this meeting.
See, that's what I was getting
because it's kind of a different. It's not law enforcement. It's us. It's us taking care of each other. I think both would be really good.
So if I do, say for example, let's just say you tell me that there's 6 or 10 Neighborhood Watch programs within the city, then maybe we could divide that up amongst the members in here, and then we could go to those meetings along with the guy there, and then we convey that stuff because we have the institutional knowledge and the importance of it and why we want to do it, whereas just having, a guy who's not at this meeting, who doesn't know what we're talking about and is just going to spew something that we're going to put on a piece of paper for him, I think it gives it a little bit more interest. And they can ask questions that we can then either give them the answer or say, well, you know what? I'm gonna see the city manager next week, or I'm gonna talk to the mayor tomorrow, and I can come back and give you, those answers. I think that gives
Most
a
people
little.
don't like to participate in the political process, like council meetings. It's painful. It's a very difficult process, and you
It's
get called
scary.
out by neighbors, and it's intimidating. But they'll talk to you in their front room.
For sure.
Good deal. That's,
Would the CERT program be a possibility to piggyback onto that for the fire watch? Because it seems like those folks are already qualified in a lot of things you'd want them to do for fire watch.
Yeah, we should probably have them come and give you guys an update on what they're doing, because it's Tri-Cities. So it'd be kind of interesting to see, what they're doing in San Clemente versus what they're doing in Dana Point versus what they're doing in San Juan, because I know that they all work together. So that'd be a good idea.
all right. Anything else from the committee on community safety and welfare items? Before we move on to the subcommittees. Okay, hearing none. Homelessness, Anderson and Walsh.
Gary and I met with the outreach team and we discussed what they need. It came to light that what would help them the most would be to have more beds they could refer homeless people to, unsheltered homeless people to.
Unfortunately, that's.
They don't have to be beds in the city. They could be beds nearby. But that would be the most useful. They identified at least 10 beds and 15 would be even better.
Don't we pay for beds?
We have 2 reserved beds.
And we don't use them right now, right?
No, not often, but they are available. And what happens is when you offer someone shelter and they don't take it and they really need it, it gives them the ability to say, well, we're going to give it to you. There's those cases where you can tell someone really needs some help. But it is, the beds that we have right now are in Laguna Beach. And so a lot of people, just like you, don't want to be displaced to another community. So that's one of the challenges, is it's a little distant from where they are. And remember that one of the things I've learned over the years working with homeless people is that's who they're hanging out with. That's their family. They don't have family otherwise. So it's hard to get them to leave sometimes, because that's kind of, some shelters don't take pets. Some won't take you if you have drugs or alcohol. So there start to be some barriers. So we don't use them all the time because not everyone qualifies for the use of them.
Rosemary, they said that if they had 10 beds, they could fill them today.
Well, we have 2 and they're not filling them.
Yeah, I worry about Rick getting 10.
So, I mean, let's fill the 2 beds now, and then if we can fill the 2 beds, let's ask for more.
So they're not filling 2 beds?
No, and I think that's the challenge, is that it's 2. I think, and again, I haven't talked to Troy and Carly about this. I think the challenge might be that it's 2 beds instead of 10. Because there may be a group of 4 that's more willing to go than an individual. We have a male bed and a female bed. So, if they're in a group of 4 people, a lot of them will say, I'm not going if Rick can't go. I'm not going to leave him behind.
Where can I go?
Homeless shelters.
Why can't I?
Because you don't qualify. You're on drugs.
Oh.
Yeah. So I maybe have. It was interesting to hear that, because Troy and Carly have never approached me about more beds. So and I ask them the same question all the time. So remember that I may be getting a different answer than what Mr. Anderson got, because the council has taken some stance that they're not interested in having a shelter in our community. So I may be getting a very defensive answer from them rather than, hey, what we really need is some beds. I don't know the answer to that, but we should probably have.
Could we?
And I talk to them pretty often.
Could we research if we could get? Are the majority of our homeless here male?
No, not necessarily. There's only one more point on the beds.
Okay.
So there was a new state law that was passed, and it makes some of the beds problematic. So if you transport a homeless person to a bed, say in Laguna Beach, you also have to provide transport for them to come back to San Clemente. You can't just go and dump them in another city. So the transportation works both ways. And so that makes it more difficult. That means you go drop them off at night and go pick them up in the morning, and we become a taxi service instead of. So there's just things that we need to consider with that program, and I do need to talk to Carly and Troy. They're usually wide open with me. They may have some ideas that I just am unaware of at this point. So.
Yeah, because they do such a great job.
Oh, they're fantastic.
And I talk to them on a regular basis. They always tell me it's the same 20 to 30 people that have been here forever. The new ones come in, they get them out, they kind of move them along. And
for the most part, I think that most of the homeless, at least in this time of year when it's cold and stuff, they're kind of the regulars. They've been here quite a while.
That don't want services.
Or have family here, but the family just won't let them come in the home. We know, we all know Patrick. Patrick has family here in the community. They just won't let him in the house because he has some habits that they just can't live with. So he wants to be around here. His family's here. But they won't let him be in the home. So what I do like, and one of the things that we really want to do, and it was put on the list here, is we want to address homelessness at the individual level. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and it's not a broad brush. Every single one of them has a different reason or a different barrier about why they're homeless. And we need to address it one-on-one because, again, I might be getting a very different story than, and again, Troy and Carly are great. What I've been told is the ones that we have here are service resistant. They have really no interest in going in a shelter. They don't trust other homeless people. They don't want to be in a shelter. So one of the things that I might be hearing from them is one of the programs that has been highly successful. This might be where our breakdown in communication is. When there is for instance, when there's a homeless person that's in really bad condition, we have the ability to put them up in a hotel until we can get medical services or something. That's always very popular. The homeless people are very happy to go to a hotel room because they're secure, they're in their own space, they're not in a homeless shelter, sleeping on a cot with who knows next to them, they don't know the person. So it might be they are asking whether or not we could have a program where we had 10 hotel beds available every night. We could fill 10 hotel rooms every night, without question. They brought that to me many times. They want the hotel voucher program expanded. They've always wanted that expanded. That's how they can get people off the street. I'll talk to them. That might be the bed they're talking about, not beds in homeless shelter. I don't know that. Did you clarify whether it's a homeless shelter or in
the question to that is though, then how many more do we get in here when the rumor starts that we're putting them in hotels? Right?
Well, I don't know, but I know that's the one that they said when we really have, and they're, by the way, since I have to sign off on that, I can tell you they're very judicious about that. They don't just offer it. This is when they see someone that is just coughing their head off, they're having a very, very difficult time. That's when they'll try to approach us with that kind of a situation, just kind of life safety type stuff.
I thought they had 4 beds there, and I said that to them, and they said, "Oh, we'd love to have 4 beds over the pressure shelter." So
no, it's one of
right. They said,
I think the beds, motels, they got kind of concluded.
I don't know. But I talk to them. It's an important distinction. I want to understand what their real needs are. I think for maybe as and I don't know how to say this right, but anti-shelters we've been, if that's a word, it is now, right? Despite that, I think that we have put as much effort into trying to help the homeless in this community as any community in this county, and we probably have the best outreach workers.
Right. Oh, we.
So regardless of what the reputation of our community might be, I know we take it serious. We know each one of them by name. We
amazing.
Yeah, they do.
They're great.
Incredible job.
In our meeting, a couple of my takeaways were just to kind of reiterate what you're saying and what everybody's been saying here. We have some tremendous outreach people, and the basic core of people that we have that are homeless here are service resistant. They said they kind of have how many times they talk to them. They literally. Maybe 3-4 times a month, or coming to them and talking to them. So they're on them, they're trying, you know, and they're just waiting for that moment when they go, yeah, I'm tired of this.
And it happens.
And I want to come.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just one day they decide, I want to go clean up.
Yeah.
It's surprising.
So that's what they do, you know, and so they are working hard at doing that, and the cataclysmic upheaval that is going to happen, right? You know, I'm going to, right?
Yeah, it's coming here in the next month
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah, and well, you probably know better than me, so.
You know, my wife's a psychiatrist, or psychologist, sorry. Big difference. She doesn't give me drugs. Psychologist.
Even though you probably need them.
I do need them. There's no doubt I need them. But there's 26,000 people that will be released from institutions in the next few weeks. And none of them have the ability to be anything but homeless. And that was a court order. So we should be watching for that. There's going to be a little bit of an influx. That's a lot of people all at once.
6,000 in what?
Southern California.
Southern California.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we can expect that maybe we're going to see some kind of uptick in that. And I know there's some of us in here, and I'll speak for them. It's at first blush you go like, we shouldn't be just putting people up in hotel rooms, right? But there is also the other side of that coin that you have to consider, and one is that they'll be sleeping on your sidewalks. So do you want them sleeping on your sidewalks where people are, you want to encourage people to come in and spend their evenings and stuff, you know, on Delmar Street? Probably not, right? So you might want to have them in someplace else, and it's also safer for them and everything if they're off the street. And that's the first part of it. The other part is that it costs us more to have a sheriff's deputy, let's say, take somebody, and now they're going to transport them to wherever they're going to take them. Let's say if for criminal reasons, you know, they go, okay, you got a warrant and all that, so now I'm going to take you up to county jail. Well, that deputy is now out of service for us. We pay for that. I mean, we're paying for that. And the cost in all those services and all the things that we're doing and storing all their clothes and everything like that, the hotel room might be cheaper, right?
I think there's a coalition right now trying to work on donations so that the hotels can be paid from private donations instead of government. I know Donna Vadrine approached me about it. Said they're trying to start some kind of a charity where people can give. What
it's called Protect.
That's right. I could not remember. Thank you. I could not remember the buzzword. And they're trying to protect or create some funding mechanism so that people can go there, and that group will pay for rooms for those people that qualify.
Yeah.
But there's some qualifications.
And drugs. The type, HUD is canceling, they're shifting from the
from housing first
to
mental first.
To mental first. And the
So
problem,
we're not going to see housing for homeless shelters anymore because it's going to go likely towards mental health. That's kind of the word on the street. So.
And for a significant portion of these homeless people, they'll take a room, but they don't want to go someplace where they have to, as Troy would say, pee clean. They don't want to, blah, blah, blah. So, but again, it's kind of better to have them someplace, right, than on your street. So
it's a hard issue.
You got to kind of balance these things out based on, like you and I, we might go like, hey, forget them, but the fact is that it's actually better for our community maybe if we're...
Have we identified like potential motels within the city that you think would be candidates for this?
They have one.
One?
They have one so far.
Okay. And where is it?
It's called the Surf Hotel.
And how many rooms does it have?
10.
Just 10?
I think something like that.
And when it's not, so if it weren't housing homeless people, who would it house?
They have a clientele.
Of?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Would you want to be in that
You see where I'm
hotel
going with
with
this?
your family, with them
Yes.
next to you? No.
So
We don't want the broken windows thing, right?
no, it's the whole idea of what have you done to a business, and then
Yeah,
when you're talking about we're a surf community, we're a beach community, we have tourism here. You're gonna bring tourists in here and put them in a hotel room that you had a homeless guy in there for the last 6 months? I don't think so.
Well, they've agreed. Don Vadrine approached them, and they said, yes, we'd be happy to take them. So they
We
want to
need a
fill,
big sign,
they want to fill.
big sign right out front. Not.
Well, anyway, you guys are working on it, all right? And
We're lucky, we have a newly elected mayor said he was gonna solve this in his.
I remember that.
I was out knocking doors, and he says, as soon as I'm mayor, everything's gonna get fixed, so.
Perfect.
We're fixing it right now.
Touche to you, okay?
How about combining this committee with the beaches and parks?
Yeah.
Okay, fire mitigation.
You have to say one more thing.
Yeah.
One other area that they identified, coming into the cold, wet, rainy season, they said they would love to be able to have some ways to mitigate the suffering on people on the streets, like ponchos, beanies, gloves. And they said if there's some way we could, hand those out, that would not only help mitigate the suffering, but it would increase the image of our outreach workers, which may help them as they try to get people off the streets.
Yeah,
Is there
my-
some fund that they can?
My first meeting as city manager here, 3 years ago now, was in February of '23. And that's exactly what I had proposed, is that at least during inclement weather, when it might be raining or whatever, we give ponchos and maybe a granola bar. Woo! It was almost my last meeting too. So, maybe that.
We heard about that.
Maybe the nature of the council has changed a little bit, but at that time it wasn't well accepted. And I agree with you. All I was thinking is, at the very least, give someone $1 poncho from Walmart so that they're not out in the rain. But I think we're still struggling from an experience we had where the city opened a camp on Pico, kind of by the utilities department. And it started out small, and the first day or two was fantastic, and then all of a sudden they all got on their cell phones.
Right.
And everyone showed up.
No one was from St.
Well,
Cloud. We had someone
So
that
I
was
know
in there using
that
it as a
we kind of
hostel.
had that bad experience, and so that's still in the minds of a lot of our residents. And so anytime we talk homelessness, that's the first thing everyone says. Oh, here we go again. And I was unaware of that, so I kind of walked into a trap.
Our church opened their doors to someone who was homeless in this town, and she became violent, and we got a pretty nasty lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean,
It's a challenge.
So maybe you could, you go to the CDBG meeting and you have those 4 or 5 or 6
grants.
What?
Yeah, the grants.
Well, I know, but you're going to be dealing with nonprofits, right, that are looking to utilize their money, and maybe some of the stipulations will be to find a nonprofit that's going to go out and buy the $1 beanie and the $1 poncho at Walmart or something, and turn around and hand them out that way, where it doesn't appear that the city's funding it. It's coming through. Good point. Coming through the nonprofit. I agree with Andy. I'm not in favor of the city spending taxpayer money for stuff like that. But if there's a nonprofit out there that can do it, then that's your job.
I doubt it's going to come through grant.
But you're going to give the money to these nonprofits to do community outreach, right?
Yeah, you're gonna give money to FAM, okay, tell them it's contingent on supplying these items to the homeless. Okay, as requested by our 2 homeless liaisons. All right?
Can we do that?
You certainly can restrict the money since it's a grant. You can tell them how you want it spent. Whether or not it gets really hard to follow through and go do audits and some of that. I mean, but we would work on their good.
Because Charlie can tell us, yeah, they're giving them to us, and we're that we can follow
$6,000
through
is
that.
a lot of money for beanies and ponchos when it rains here like 10 times. Okay, so let's be honest here. But I'm sure that some of these nonprofits, part of their operating procedures and things of whatever they do is to provide clothing and stuff for homeless people.
The
Is
only
that right?
nonprofit last year was FAM. The others were senior center, vocational vision.
But do any of them provide
Just
clothing?
FAM. No, just FAM. Well, FAM would.
Okay. Maybe is FAM asking for money?
They always do.
Then we're giving money to people that are paying stuff to give out to homeless people, so probably so.
Okay, can we move on now?
Yeah.
Okay, fire mitigation.
Fire mitigation, Andy, I had a question, because we haven't really gotten together. What do you want the city, do you want us to present, or what does the city want us to do? Go approach the HOAs or regarding fire mitigation, what, because I know we have that whole, they're trying to put stuff through.
Where are you in the grant cycle for fire mitigation?
We have a few grants going. There's a $500,000 grant from CAL FIRE that's we should be hearing back from by the end of the year. And then there is a grant for $8.5 million from FEMA. That is a 2-year process. We just submitted our application in September for that. There are a few back and forth. First with the California Office of Emergency Services prior to their recommendation for it to go forward to FEMA. That process has just started. It's probably another 6 months of their review, and then it's a 9-month process for FEMA. We would not, if we are successful, those funds would not come through until the middle of 2027.
So the question was, should there be any outreach right now to HOAs about fire prevention, some of that? Now, I know also the Zone 0 just got delayed another year. Is it another year? So the 5-foot clearance around your home and whatnot, the state has delayed that for a year. But we should probably start talking to HOAs now, especially if they're building new homes or doing remodels.
The fire department does that now already.
Right.
They're already reaching out to the HOAs. So,
Yeah, so I mean, as a committee, what do you want us to do? How?
So there's a few things that we're
I know he and Rachel were working on this very thing, so I didn't want to step on. I may speak wrong, so I'd rather him tell you.
I mean, without funding to support large, I'll call it swath wildfire prevention work. The things that we want to work on with the residents are things like the Ready, Set, Go program. Home hardening has always been OCFA's #1 thing that this city should be focused on. And so there's some of the grants that I mentioned have some outreach aspects to them. The CAL FIRE one especially, a large part of that one requires outreach. But even if we are not successful in that grant application, we are going to be starting to work with the communities for things like Firewise communities. We did apply for the Fire Risk Reduction Communities List, or the FERCL. That's also through CAL FIRE. We anticipate getting on that. We met all of the criteria for that. Once we have that designation, and even beforehand, that will play into our outreach with HOAs to start talking about things like defensible space. OCFA, as we talked about, has an annual vegetation inspection program. Those inspections, Zone 0 was delayed. That talks about everything within 5 feet from structures. However, all of the new homes that are within the very high fire hazard severity zone are now going to require some type of annual inspection where they did not before. That has not been delayed.
And isn't it 25% remodel? Anyway, there's something, if you remodel a home a certain amount or a new home, they got to do the Zone 0.
Yeah, I
can't remember the percentage.
Yeah, I don't recall that percentage, but there's new fire regulations that apply to existing homes for things like remodels or additions, and then of course.
So the question was, what assistance can
what do you
the
want
fire
us to
mitigation committee do
with the HOAs?
while you're working through some of this?
Or
is it a hold tight till the next
Or do
meeting?
we wait until we get what you're working on?
So, I mean, at this point, we can, we'll put some stuff together for the next meeting.
Okay.
To discuss. Essentially, we're trying to create, an outreach campaign with not only HOAs, but individual property owners. We have a lot of canyon areas that
Yeah.
are not covered by HOA property, and so there's hundreds of property owners around there. At the next meeting, actually before the next meeting, I will be sending some information for the committee's review. It's our emergency management strategic plan.
Okay.
And that will include things like outreach, and so that'll give us some thoughts to work with. But
We're looking at that drone program for fireworks, maybe. That might
we
be
are
something they could review.
currently looking at updating our municipal codes to address fireworks.
You guys don't know how lucky we were. We actually had a fire in a canyon on the
Right,
4th of July.
4th of July,
And it would have gone straight up Salvador. We were
Yeah.
very lucky.
Yeah. So we are working on that. So I can do a presentation in February.
Okay.
On
So we'll
bunch of
sit
these
tight on
topics.
this, and then, I know, our goal is to be a fire-wise city. Is that what we're trying to do?
Right.
We want each homeowners association or neighborhood group to be fire-wise. Cities can't be a fire-wise
Okay,
city.
each group, okay.
There are cities that their entire city have been recognized as fire-wise. I think Laguna Beach might be one of them. Did they?
I'm not, so
But it's individual areas and then the whole city eventually.
Right,
gets-
okay.
yeah, FireWise is for neighborhoods of between 8 and 2,500 residents.
Okay.
So it would need to be done in pockets. There's a lot of like volunteer
But
efforts.
you don't have to be an HOA.
You don't have to
No.
be an
Right.
HOA.
It could be
Okay.
a neighborhood.
Yeah, but it works very well with HOAs because they're
Communication.
already kind of set up to.
Is the
And,
city
and by law,
eventually-
if you get that designation, the
Insurance
your
goes
carrier
down.
has to lower a
5%.
minimum of 5%.
Right,
And they can't make it much harder to cancel your fire insurance.
right. Is the goal, is the city eventually gonna be fining people if they're not in compliance?
Ooh, I don't know. We haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't know. Everything right now is carrot. There haven't been a lot of stick shit on fire, but a few more Paradises and Malibus,
Yeah,
and there's going to
exactly, and
be.
then it's gonna change things, yeah.
Rick, is the petition still going on for?
They've got about 4,000 signatures.
How many do we need?
They need 4,500 affirmed signatures, so they're trying to get
How long is that
6,000.
gonna go?
It's another 7 weeks. It's like something in
Can
February.
you get
February,
me
end of
to,
February.
tell me where to get a couple forms and I'll walk them all the way through my
Sure.
HOA.
I hope people recognize how expensive. He says $8.5 million. I hope people recognize how expensive fire preparation is if you're going to do it right.
Right.
It's
No,
tens of
no,
millions.
no,
It's going to take us a while to be ready.
Right,
I don't think, if you ever want to have an exercise, because we did this exercise, you're driving up Pico, you don't think it, but sometimes stop your car legally and walk the north side of Pico from Walmart down to the high school. It's a jungle. It is so much thicker than what anybody realizes driving up that road. We have work to do. We have a lot of work to do in our community.
and that was
Have we
always,
thought about doing any community,
Some of those cleanups, they were highly successful. We need to make sure that the reality is we did 14 acres that day, and we have thousands of acres to worry about. It's more that it gets people in the mindset of I need to go home now and look around and make sure that. So I think those community outreach things are way more important about building community and getting people knowledgeable about fire safety than it is about how much we actually get done, because you don't get much.
yeah.
It's hard. Manual labor is a hard way to prepare for fires.
I'm sure all you are aware, if you're not, there's a petition going around to put a measure on the ballot.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about it in an official meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to stay real clean about it. It's a citizens
Mike, I just said
initiative,
you're the guy
not
who's
a.
in charge of that.
Okay,
I said
Yeah.
that was info.
that's what I heard. Okay, thank you.
No, that's fine. It's just not a city initiative. It's a citizen. So I just want.
Great idea. Okay.
One other thing about fire mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, no, go ahead, we talked.
Well, go ahead.
We got a firefighter. in there.
Yeah. No, after you. He was a chief. I was just captain.
Tom, sorry.
No, Gary and I had already talked a little bit about it, and I didn't realize that, Rosemary, you were with us on that. But you were outreach into some of the other communities that already have some of this mitigation stuff in place and seeing what they're doing. And Gary, I thought you said you already contacted some.
I had not.
Not, okay.
But we had talked about perhaps looking into the siren system, kind of revitalizing that as kind of a community warning system, so that these people would know, because I think we've discussed it before, is that you get something on your phone, you're going like, okay, I'm supposed to like click on this, really? No. And everybody told me no. So at least if you're at sirens, you go, yeah, I should be doing something toward finding out what's the heck's going on. So, anyways, that was one part.
And we did go and tour
Laguna
the
has
one that
an
Laguna
incredible
Beach.
warning system.
Right. Yeah.
Is it an auditory one?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they talk about something like that for tsunami?
We used to have one in town, but that may give the people who lived here a long time some PTSD because it was about nuclear. It was about the nuclear.
Right. It was. Yeah.
Regardless,
I don't know,
it's
don't
something
worry.
to get your attention.
But it was something that could
Yeah,
be
I like that.
retuned for this.
So on that one, we updated our local hazard mitigation plan earlier this year. That was one of the mitigation action measures was to look at an alert and warning system. The city is embarking on its CIP process, capital improvement projects. However, there is probably some grant funding out there for that, and so that's something that we're going to be working on, but it is in our local hazard mitigation plan, so it would be eligible for funding if there's targeted grants that could assist with that.
That'll probably be our next earmark request also from our federal legislators. You know, whether that be Levin or whoever gets elected, I think that's going to be important. Earmarks are back a little bit, that helps.
I just have one more. So, in the term fire mitigation, obviously there's like the residential component, right, where the homeowner is responsible for it. Then there is the public space that the city's responsible for somehow. But what about the business? So, and I live in Short Cliffs, and my concern is the golf course, because the homeowner, let's just say, for example, we're gonna go 5 feet out, right? And we're gonna mitigate all that stuff, and then on the other side of that is the giant slope that goes all the way down to the golf course that is just one big giant brush pile. Except for the fairway, then you get on the other side of the fairway, and it's another giant brush pile all the way up to the back of the other neighbor's house. For the entire street on 4 different major thoroughfares throughout Short Cliffs.
One cigarette from a golfer is.
Well, I'm just saying, be quiet.
Who owns that property?
Well, is
it a golf course?
Yeah, it's owned by Short Cliffs Golf Course, but I'm just saying, but who is it that is from, someone has to go and, you know, in my opinion, someone has to go and A, inform them, and B, mandate that they do something.
And I think that's Orange County Fire.
Yeah, but on Orange County Fire, they have zones. So
Okay.
if you're moderate, they will only enforce very high. So they will not enforce, if it's
Are the
very
regulations on golf
Yeah, so
courses
they
from the?
do okay, so the fire code is adopted by the city. The enforcement agency is the Orange County Fire Authority. They have I should say 3 levels of enforcement. The first is a meeting where they'll talk with the property owners about what needs to happen. Second is a warning. And then the third is referring the matter to the district attorney. They don't do citations, they don't do anything else. It's
a long process.
It's warning to legal action. There are times where, like, code enforcement will get complaints about overgrown vegetation, and there are some codes related to overgrowth of vegetation, usually with like rodent harboring or, you know, just dead, dying trees. If it's something that is a complaint from the fire side of things, but the Orange County Fire Authority doesn't really have the teeth to deal with that issue, we'll work with them to find something that we can apply. But on the other side of it, sometimes there is like some serious growth that does present a fire hazard, and so from
Short Cliffs is a real good
code
example.
enforcement side of it, we'll call OCFA, and if they come out and they say, yeah, this is a fire hazard, then we can use that determination to help our enforcement. As far as, you know, there's 6,000 square feet of, 6,000 acres, sorry, of open space in the city. The city owns about 900 to 1,000 acres of it, maybe even less than that. There's a lot of other areas that look like open space areas, like the golf course, that aren't identified as that same kind of open space. So we don't have the resources to do proactive inspections for all of this. We're complaint-based. So if we get complaints, we'll go out and address it. I can't recall of any times that we've gotten many complaints about the vegetation around the Short Cliffs Golf Course. We get a lot of complaints about the Short Cliffs Golf Course.
No, I understand that.
And properties that flooded.
But just because someone doesn't complain doesn't mean that it's not an issue.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm asking is that if we're going to be proactive in trying to identify areas of concern, and listing, like I said, first of all, you have businesses, second of all, you have public space, and then the third, you have residential. The golf courses fall into, an area that doesn't really combine any of those things, but yet pose in my mind, you can do all the mitigation you want in Short Cliffs living around that golf course for your 5 feet, and airborne embers and stuff that traveled 1.5 miles, 2 miles from a fire that started in an area that we did a good job of, now catch the golf course on fire. What do you tell those people?
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Is there a way or something that we can have maybe that looked at, and as we're doing what it is that we do to identify areas of concern, and how would we do that? That's all.
It's a valid question. I mean, staff could put some time and energy in researching this question. I'll tell you that the state fire marshal has told us what the areas of most concern are by identifying the very high, and moderate fire hazard severity zones, which is why those are getting the majority of OCFA's attention. As far as what it would look like to have a city-run program where we're proactively inspecting essentially every area of vegetation growth in the city, not cheap, but at least there's an answer to that question.
Okay.
I think eventually we're going to have to find funding, make funding, whatever, and take fire seriously in the community. Exactly. We've been very, very fortunate. We worry a lot about landslides and whatnot. Fire is what keeps me up at night.
But in Short Cliffs, though, if you mitigate a lot of that brush or growth on those slopes, now you've created another problem.
A different problem.
A different problem with the landslides and stuff. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, the landslides have been happening forever. We haven't had a fire either. So that's, all we're going to do is displace coyotes and piss off a whole bunch of
happy medium on how you can do it.
And the other
don't mess with those gnats.
The other question, I guess, or thing to think about is, once when I was in Vienna, they were talking about the enemy always came from the east. There was we always, that's why all the stuff's pointed to the east. But we have the same issue. Our brush out in Camp Pendleton,
south and east,
south and east, and then even San Juan. There's areas that border right up to us that are just complete giant fire loads, and so we can take care of our in here. But how do we get those entities to?
So we went and met with the ranch. They have a very robust, if you will, conservation easement, and their actual conservation easement says that they cannot take any activity to reduce or do any fire modification on their property. That's hard for me to believe. Now, I do think that there's going to be legislation that overrides that you can't do that. I understand maybe at the time what they were trying to avoid is the mechanical go out there with the thumper and just clear cut trees and whatnot. But that's not the way we do fire stuff.
If you read the report from the Palisades fire, and one of the major concerns of the Palisades fire was that state-owned land was not able to allow the big heavy tractors and stuff to go up there and cut fire lines and everything because of some stupid milk plant or something. Well, guess what? I think all of that let's hug a tree stuff is gonna go by the wayside when we're talking about.
I think we'll see some legislation will
Yeah.
allow us to help that. But it's good, it's a really good
Can I ask a question? So,
Yeah, but you didn't
I've
burn
just
down
been
that
informed that
$10 million home.
I'm still the liaison on this, on the. both
Oh,
of these
hey,
things.
how about
And
that?
I didn't know, I was just getting ready to leave and then Adam let me know.
Adam, we almost got rid of him too.
So, this committee commission, you guys have got a approved work plan?
Yes.
Okay, so I would reiterate this, I think I've talked to both committees and Human Affairs, is it's really important, I think, that you start working on this work plan with your subcommittees to get some kind of product that you're aiming for, a recommendation or something that comes back to the council. I mean, that's and all the questions you're asking are outstanding questions, and that's how the subcommittee should be working on. Well, who does these inspections? Does the fire marshal do these inspections? These are the things, the questions that you're asking are outstanding questions, and those are the ones you should be working on, so staff doesn't have to do it. That's the idea of the committees and the commissions. It's not to make work for staff. I can do that for Adam. But it's to relieve staff of some of these things. So all these questions you're asking are great, and that's what your subcommittees ought to be doing some research to get them back to staff so they don't have to do it. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
Yeah, so that's it. If we can start channeling some of these great ideas and in your subcommittees and start answering some of the same questions that your whole group is asking. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything you're talking about is, I'm going, yeah, who does that? What does that? And that's what we're hoping you guys
Good deal.
can
All right.
help staff out.
Moving on. Improvement of park ranger program. Jim and I are going to meet with Trevor tomorrow, and we'll get back to the committee. Humanitarian award.
We'll start that again in March, but our last year, Andy, got the congressional nomination for the Navy and the Air Force.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he got early acceptance into Coast Guard, so now he's got to figure out which one he wants to do.
Poor guy.
I know.
He's got a lot of hard choices.
Alrighty.
What happened to the Army? What happened to West Point? Come on.
Slacker.
Slacker. Come on.
Yeah, total slacker.
Come on, Naval Academy and
Yeah, but they lost their game the other day, so I go Navy.
Alright, vehicle and e-bike safety program.
Okay, so we now have work we need to do. Do you
That's
want to join that committee with us? You want to jump on that?
Right.
Sure.
Two of us, is that good? Okay.
Perfect.
And have you gotten the work packet?
I don't know if he's got the work. We'll get that to you. To him, the
It
work.
looks kind of like this and has all the deliverables and so you'll get that today or
Yeah.
tomorrow.
And then Miley, can you add his number and get it out to us so we can get in touch with him?
And email.
Email on that list. Okay, thank you.
Great. Anything else, Jim?
No, sir.
Okay. Communication and disaster preparedness. We
Haven't really got
Well, one of the things when you do get together, we have a new webpage, so you can get with Miley and we can talk about better ways to do outreach for some of these programs. So,
Great deal.
This is an area of expertise that I have.
oh,
So we should jump on that then, jump on
Add
it.
to it.
Yeah,
Please do.
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be perfect.
beautiful.
And I'll reiterate what the mayor said. I really appreciate, this is the first time we've met and talked about these. But I hope as I couldn't agree more. Just so you know, our staff is taxed. We have a very small city. That's why we need your help. I can promise you the staff doesn't need more to do. They need help getting stuff done. So I couldn't agree more, and I really appreciate it. You guys are tackling, I think, some of the real issues that keep coming up to the city council. These aren't just to keep you guys busy. These are the issues that we're hearing from residents. So look forward to hearing your recommendations. We're here to support you, not here to, do the work. This is intended to be a really necessary extension of staff, not another assignment for staff. And it's been so helpful. So
Appreciate that. So I will be reaching out to each one of the committees, probably the third week in January. All right, just to see what progress we're making.
Okay.
okay, if I can help you with anything. And I want, when February meeting comes along, I want us to have, you know, a lot of input to get back to the council. All right?
Round table?
Round table. We'll start with the ladies.
There we go.
Do you have any?
Nope, I'm good.
Michael?
I've said it all.
Like I said, I'm really humbled to be on the group here, so thanks very much.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take more than a half hour. I think. Geez.
I had an hour for
Okay.
you.
I guess I meant no.
I'm good.
You're good, yeah, I'm good.
I just want to reiterate, I think we spent a lot of time on an issue that's not an issue at the very beginning of this meeting. I don't know how you go about trying to legislate something that is like not something that's going to inconvenience a whole lot of people because of something that is an aesthetic thing. It's not a parking issue because there's plenty of parking up there. There's so much parking in Short Cliffs, it's not even funny because you can park on the other side of the street. Half the people park on the side of the street because they're single loaded streets. They park in front of their houses. And some people get pissed off because somebody else parked in front of their house. But they park across the street, it's not an issue. So I think you talk about slippery slopes. This is probably the slipperiest when you start talking about forcing people. So you're going to force someone to park a car a half a mile away in someone else's neighborhood. So it's not my problem anymore. Now it's going to be in your neighborhood. So you have to look at it for 72 hours before you force it to come back to your neighborhood. And then I always go on, how many, not how many complaints, how many complainants do you have? Just because one guy calls 75 times doesn't mean we have a problem. It means we have a 75-time problem with one person. But if 75 people call, now we might want to have to re-examine what it is that we're talking about doing. That's it.
Can I just add two things to that? Number one, I worry about in high-density locations where parking is limited. You have like people that don't use their cars that often. Are they going to be hassled? You know, I worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is the street sweeping. It seems to me it would be easy to enforce giving the citation if their cars in a place where the street sweeper is going to come through. I don't think you need signage for that. You just have to warn them that you can't park your car in this location on this certain day for the street sweepers.
Well, in an area where it's not posted,
Yeah, you have to have.
and now you're going to change the rules where before you never got, on Monday you did not, or on Friday you didn't get a ticket, but on Monday you're going to get one, you have to give them ample opportunities to move their cars.
Well, there's no postage on my street, but there was a while when I first moved here
Mm-hmm.
that every month they say we're going to clean your street.
Mm-hmm.
Don't park it on that day or you're going to be cited. There's no postage there.
I know, I'm just telling you, in Short Cliffs, there's no signage up there for street sweeping, and the street sweeper comes through there and drives around 25, 30 cars, and it's...
I don't think you need signage. I think you just need to warn them. You
How would you go about notifying and how much time would you give them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what
Again,
I'm getting at.
We beat this one thing to death.
Yeah.
Way over. Andy, do you have anything else for us?
No, sir. Miley.
Do you have anything? Thank you very much for, I don't know how you put up with us. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all, and.
Yeah, a couple weeks from now, this whole meeting's gonna look very, very organized and whatnot. Miley does a great job.
and
She
Miley,
can't wait.
Thanks for getting us some room for tomorrow. Yeah, we really appreciate it. And again, I'll be following up with all of you, and like three weeks or so, just so we've got some momentum coming into the February meeting. All right, so can I get a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the Community Safety and Welfare Program and rejoin on February 24th at 3 o'clock here in the community room.
Motion. I'll make a motion.
Was my second?
Second.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
February 24th.
Mike?
Everyone have a great evening. Let's step up to the next. How you doing?
Good.